It is time for my favorite video that I do every month. It's my reading wrap up and monthly TBR video. So we're going to be talking about the books that I read in May, as well as the books that are on my list to read in June. There's definitely a wide variety here, a lot of new releases and new genres for me. So let's dive into it and talk about the books that I read first in May, and then we'll get to the books that I want to read in June. If you're new here, I'm going to leave my book playlist down below. Definitely check it out. I also make a lot of other like thrifting or vlog videos as well. And then I also do have a Goodreads account if you're into that, a bookstagram account, which is like my favorite little book space online. So definitely follow that on Instagram. I've somehow become a book talker this last month, and now I make a lot of book content on TikTok, so check that out. And then all of these books and more are categorized on my Amazon storefront, along with some really fun like book accessories and all of that. So that will be down below as well. And of course, if you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe, but let's get started. Not only was May a great reading month, but I also bought a ton of books this last month. Like, I should put myself on a book buying ban. I kind of want to do a huge book haul on all of the new books that I got this last month. So let me know if you want to see that, and stick around / subscribe, because I'll probably film that next and get it posted soon. I love watching book haul videos and getting ideas, and it also just kind of feels like I'm window shopping, or I get like the same rush of shopping if I watch somebody else's haul. And then I also really want to film a huge summer TBR list as well. So some of these books you might see again in that video, but diving right on into what I read in May. I started this month off with a sequel. I read The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. So this is the sequel to The Family Upstairs, which I read in April. And I gave the first book 5 stars because it was just a solid 5-star thriller read that I could not put down. Sequels are a little difficult because you've already like solved the mystery, but I think she did a really great job at keeping the storyline going and providing new mysteries to uncover. As a sequel, it was definitely a great read. I rated this one 4 stars because it was a great sequel, but you know, sequels just never hit the same. And we got a lot into some newer characters, but less about the characters that you grew close to in the first book. And then some of the characters just became like unlikable. I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to read this, but if you did really enjoy The Family Remains and you want to keep the good vibes going, definitely pick this up. After this, I wanted a nice palette cleanser and something that I could just turn my brain off to. Colleen Hoover, Regretting You. Out of all of Colleen Hoover's books, this one definitely kind of took an L. I didn't really like it at all. It deals with a lot of like cheating tropes, which she kind of does a lot in her books, and that is like my least favorite trope of all time. It makes a lot of characters unlikable. This one deals a lot with grief, surprisingly, which wasn't what I needed at the time. When I picked up this book, it was like an escapism. There was a lot of grief going on in my personal life this last month. So when I picked up this fluffy coho book, I did not expect to find similar grief, but maybe I needed that, I'm not sure. Also, we just didn't get answers to a lot of things that I really wanted answers to. Like, even the cover is a clue. Like, why did we never get the answer to this? So again, great escapism. I read this in maybe like a day and a half. I rated this, if not 2 stars, then 3. If you're looking for a fluffy Colleen Hoover book, there are others that I would recommend starting with. I see why this one's not really talked about though. The next book that I read was another thriller, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This one is kind of like a thriller take on gentrification in New York City. It deals with racism, microaggressions, and gentrification. It kind of took that topic, which is an important thing to talk about, and gave it like the Jordan Peele's Get Out twist. Basically, everybody in her neighborhood is disappearing overnight. It's like neighbors that she knows would never sell, neighbors that she knows would never just leave without saying goodbye, and all of these like young white couples are moving in. All of these like local Black businesses are being sold out and being flipped into like chains. It's a really close look at gentrification, but with a more like monstrous take. The thriller element is like, where are these people going and what are they doing to them? It was definitely a very different thriller than things that I've read, but I would recommend this even if you're not into thriller books, because the topic of conversation is just so crucial, and I think she did a really great job at it. It had like a weird action slasher vibe near the end, but I mean, I was still hooked and I read this really quickly. I think I gave this one 3. You know what? There's a really easy answer to this. Just open my Goodreads. Okay, I gave Regretting You 3 stars. Looking back, I should change that to 2 stars. And then I gave this 3 stars, but looking back, I feel like I should give this 4 stars. Interesting how ratings change over time once the book has kind of like settled in my mind. This next book, how do I explain? It started as a joke. I found it at a little free library, but now I actually really enjoyed it. And I bought the second book out of a trilogy, and the third book comes out this summer, and I'm gonna buy it as well. I don't know how I got here. Her Soul to Take by Harley Laroux. This is my first dark romance book that I read, absolutely devoured. I've realized that I am less of like an icebreaker, cartoon, rom-com, smutty romance reader, and definitely a dark summoning a demon type of romance reader. It's so hysterical to me how much I enjoyed this story, and no one will believe me when I say that it was for the plot. I loved the plot, I really did. It felt like an ABC Family teen movie or like TV series. Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars. There's lore, there's mystery, there's sacrifices, there's like family history like throughout the town. Obviously, this girl, our protagonist, accidentally summons a demon, but guess what? They fall in love. And I am here for it, I guess. I am here for it so much that it's the first book that I started tabbing. I wanted to share some with you, but I don't think I could share any without spoiling the plot. Yeah, I mean, like, again, I know this isn't for everyone, and I definitely never expected it to be for me, but I'm a dark romance girly now, and I'm gonna read the second book soon. So shout out to whoever donated this book to the little free library because it changed my life. Also, this is the self-published version, but since then a publishing company re-released them. So I did buy the second book, but it looks different and it's bigger. I'm glad that I have the self-published version because I feel like this one is just like a little bit harder to find ever since it's been re-released, which makes me treasure it more. I'm embarrassed to say how much I gave this book. I gave this book 4 stars. And the last book that I finished last night, on the last night of May, I've never been that clean of like reading and finishing all of the books in 1 month and then starting new books on the first of the month. So that was like an accomplishment in itself for me. But the book that I just finished, Willowbrooke by Wynn. So Wynn actually sent this to me and she was so sweet. She sent over like a highlighter, tabs, reading candle, bookmark, like everything needed to set the vibe. This is her debut novel, and I just want to say I am always so proud when somebody like not only finishes writing a book, but then also publishes it, because I know that is a whole other challenge and accomplishment in itself. So that alone like makes me love this book even more, knowing how much work went into it. And I guess that's like the case with every single book, but I do feel a bit more connected to this because it was given to me. But I really enjoyed this read. Definitely something that's like easy to get into, easy to get hooked on, and easy to finish in like the best way possible. This book is basically about a girl named Penny who is assigned to restore this old house. She ends up living in the home while she's restoring it. Of course, the guy that owns the house is a little grumpy, but you learn about the history of the house. I wasn't expecting there to also be a slight like murder mystery element, but that was really fun. Think like thriller, haunted house, slow burn romance. And then I also rated this book 4 stars as well because it was just like a solid read. So I'm gonna link this down below. Definitely check it out. It's available on Amazon. I'm realizing that on average I read 5 books a month, but with summer coming up, I hopefully can read more because I'm always reading in the summertime outside, at the pool, anywhere that I can just lay out and tan, I will be reading. So with that in mind, I have high hopes that I can read more books each month now that summer has officially started. So here are the 7 books on my June TBR list. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of 5 stars and just like a good variety. And because I just finished Willowbrooke last night, I have that like urge and excitement that I get to start a new book today. So as soon as I'm done filming and working for the day, I am heading out to my balcony and starting The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. So this book totally gives me White Lotus vibes. It's about a villa in Italy that has, I think, kind of like a spooky history to it. There was a murder back in the 70s, and our protagonist, I believe, is kind of just like digging up a lot of the villa's past. It says that this book was inspired by Fleetwood Mac, the Manson murders, and the infamous summer Percy and Mary Shelley spent with Lord Byron at a Lake Geneva castle, the birthplace of Frankenstein. The villa welcomes you to its deadly legacy. Also, doesn't this book give off the best like summer mystery vibes. I love the cover, I love the lemons. Definitely a book that I want to read outside, at the pool, near water, on a beach. It's giving me summer reading vibes to the max. I cannot wait to read this. The next book on my list was also on my May TBR list. I didn't get to it in time, but I'm actually excited to read it in June because it also feels like a June book to me with Pride Month, and that is Late Bloomer by Mazy Eddings. This is a newly released sapphic romance about a girl who wins the lottery and ends up buying a flower farm in North Carolina, but you know, romance unfolds, and I love a sapphic romance. I think the genre is definitely growing within the last couple of years, but for a while it was very impossible to find like femme sapphic romance novels, and as a queer woman, you know, you want representation, you want books that you can relate to. I'm always excited when there's a queer romance book to read because it just reminds me of how far we've come. Also, I feel like I'm kind of matching this book, but I will definitely be reading this book in June. I know of a couple of friends actually that are currently reading this because I've seen their Instagram stories. I'm getting a little bit of FOMO. I bought this book a couple months ago and I just want to read it so badly. It wouldn't feel like summer without reading a Taylor Jenkins Reid novel. I feel like when I think about summer reading, I think of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is back. And although she doesn't have a new book coming out, there are so many that I have purchased from her that I haven't read yet because in my mind, they just feel like something that I need to read outside in summer. So for June, I chose One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is about high school sweethearts, but I think the guy disappears after a year of marriage. Yeah, on their first wedding anniversary, he disappears. Years later, she is engaged again. He returns and it's like, will she choose her high school sweetheart that she married, or what about her new fiance? I think the answer, at least based on that, is pretty clear, but Taylor Jenkins Reid's novels are always so well written. I love the way that she writes. She definitely knows how to make you cry and instantly become connected to the characters in the story. It's always such a great escape. I think this cover is beautiful. I mean, look at all the summer vibes. Palm trees. This is a summer book. It's also going to be a movie, so I do want to read this before the film comes out. I know it's going to rip my soul out. I know it's going to be heartbreaking and I'll probably sob, but I also know it's going to be a beautiful story. Of course, there's a Lisa Jewell book on my TBR list, Then She Was Gone. I don't like knowing a lot of the plot before going into a book, especially when it's like a thriller or mystery, because I want to be surprised in all accounts. But from what I can tell, a girl goes missing. Where did she go? We'll find out. Lisa Jewell is my favorite thriller writer. Again, I love the way that she hooks and grabs you right from the beginning. You are invested in the story. I love the way that she writes. She knows exactly how much information to give you at what time and what to keep from you until later. Always a great little twist. It's a really, really fun ride. This next book is kind of inspired by my birthday because I have a June birthday, and for some reason I had to pick a book that I wanted to read around the time of my birthday, and this one I have been saving for June for that very reason, and it looks so good. It's Emma Straub's This Time Tomorrow. I believe this is sort of like a 13 going on 30 plot, except backwards, where she is turning 40 but wakes up on her 16th birthday. So what better book to read on my birthday than this? I took a picture of this when I bought it while thrifting, and a lot of people responded to that story of this saying that they loved this book. So I'm really excited to read it. I am obsessed with this cover. I think it's so fun. Emily Henry has a little blurb on the back and she writes, "This Time Tomorrow is that rare one in a million novel that not only pulls you wholly into itself, but leaves a lasting mark when it finally releases you." I cannot wait to read this one. And to end it off, I've got a couple of dark romances to try. Like I said, I'm getting into dark romances. I've been buying a ton of them, and I've got two to start with and try out this month of June. Butcher and Blackbird. I've heard a lot of great things about this one. I also kind of feel like I'm matching this book right now as well, but this one is about two serial killers that are dating. The viral Friends to Lovers dark romantic comedy full of murder, chaos, and sizzling chemistry. I'm intrigued. Tell me more. I think I'm gonna fly through this book and I'm so excited to dive into it. And then the last dark romance and last book on my TBR list this month is Promises and Pomegranates. This is the first book in the Monsters and Muses, I think that's what it's called, series. And I believe this one is a retelling of Hades and Persephone, but like, add a little bit of spice, if you know what I mean. I love Greek mythology. I loved the cover. That's what originally drew me to this book, and it's got this like really nice matte texture as well. It's not intimidating because it's not that big. You know how some dark romances are like thick? I did buy a couple of those, but just to dip my toes into this genre, I've got 2 that I think will be really quick to get through. If I like it, I'm going to read the entire series. That is everything on my June TBR list. Let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these books, and definitely let me know some books that are on your TBR list. If you enjoy content like this, I have so many other videos for you to check out, as well as my TikTok, Instagram, Goodreads, and of course, all of these books and much more are on my Amazon storefront, linked below. I have to make the TikTok version of this video, and then I'm heading outside and I'm starting the villa. I always get this video up as soon as possible for you, but I have, I think, 4 videos, if not more, that I've filmed throughout the month of May that I'm currently editing. So for those that are still watching, you're getting a little sneak peek. I've got an official long overdue house tour coming out, a like start of summer vlog where I get the house set for summer. I've got just another summer vlog of like everything that I've been doing this month, and then I think I've got some estate sale thrifting content. I'm working on a reading vlog, but I kind of like abandoned this reading vlog because May was just not a month that I felt like talking to a camera. Just with everything going on, I don't know, I just wanted to like read for me and not read for a vlog. But I want to start a summer reading vlog with all of these books, so we'll see. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Happy reading, happy summer, happy June, the best month of the year in my June baby Gemini opinion. I'll see you real soon though in my next video. Bye!